Hi. So I'm Jim West. I'm the president of the Manuscript Society. I'm very glad that you all have joined us. We were founded in '48 as the National Society of Autograph Collectors. We've gone much wider than that now, basically to anything we describe as a manuscript, and that's defined as anything that's handwritten. So anything from medieval illuminated manuscripts to uh, autographs of Babe Ruth, etc., including letters and all those things are, and signed documents, and all those things are manuscripts for us. So we have a wide range of people that are interested: curators, librarians, collectors, dealers, etc. We publish a quarterly journal, both hard copy and PDF. We publish newsletters as well. We have an annual meeting where we have a 3 or 4 day meeting. The meeting part of it is very short, like an hour or two. And the rest of it, we line up visits to local museums and other things where we get behind the scenes looks. We also offer a grant annually to primarily grad students that are using primary research, using manuscripts as primary research. Uh, Please take a look at manuscript.org, and you're welcome to join us there. Today's presenter is Harrison Wick. He's going to be talking about the Spanish Illuminated Manuscript project, which I'm very keen to see. Harrison is the Associate Professor of Special Collections and at the Indiana University of Pennsylvania, which is not to be confused with Indiana University. And I look forward to what Harrison's got to say. And at this point, I'll just turn it over to Harrison. You can begin telling the story.
Thank you, Jim. It's a pleasure to be here tonight. So my presentation, this is definitely the Spanish Illuminated Manuscript is a legacy piece that this is the frontispiece of this wonderful manuscript. It's definitely a labor of love too. When I started at IUP, Indiana University, Pennsylvania, in 2007, I I didn't realize I would be there for 17 years. It's been a remarkable experience. If I've learned anything, it's a long ways from when I was a grad student at Indiana University in Bloomington. I learned that it's my position has been very eclectic. I can say that we collect a little bit of everything. Bear with me a second here. Technology at its finest. The Yeah, it's just how it is, right? But talking about the Spanish Illuminated Manuscript, when I started at IUP, this was already a part of the collection and had been for about 50 years. And we collect, like a lot of places, the IUP Special Collections and University Archives has about 4 different primary areas: record groups and manuscript groups, Pennsylvania regional history, our rare book collection, and then our maps and illustrations and photographs. And it's been a remarkable journey, I have to tell you. It's been a lot of fun too. As my mentor, Phil Banton, would have said, archives are living, growing things. And he was right. He is right. And this is just one of so I do a lot of instruction for our students. And this is just one of our rare books. This is a New Testament, Dutch New Testament from 1569. Wood boards, leather over wood boards, heavily embellished. And I had a chance to attend the rare book school at UVA this summer, and I think a few of my classmates are on this presentation. And it was a lot of fun to learn about different bindings from our course was on English bookbinding. And it's always been interesting to me to be able to compare different bindings, in particular of rare books. But I found that our collections from around the world are. I- I'm finding that I need to find more. I need to find more resources from elsewhere outside of the English speaking world. And that's where the Spanish Illuminated Manuscript comes in. It's definitely a work in progress. So we have a lot of different activities that we provide. The special collections and university archives, sports research. I answered 1,500 research requests last year. These are two of my doctoral students, Megan and Jordan. They were presenting here on this was our Into the Archives event, and we talked. That's an outreach activity that I've presented for the last 6 years. And it's been a lot of fun. We talk about our rare books. We promote it to the university, and it encourages research as well as conservation. Our projects include outreach and instruction, digitization, even audio video conversion. We do a little bit of everything. It's as I say, I've always told my students, I'm a jack of all trades, but a master of none. This is the frontispiece of the Spanish Illuminated Manuscript. So this was a legacy piece. I've learned a little bit more about the provenance. One of our, uh, I'll go into more detail about my upcoming sabbatical project, but one of my friends that I've gotten to know very well, Jeff Weber's Rare Books, would point out that it's very important to know your provenance. And this is a remarkable frontispiece. So to give you a little bit of background about the book itself. So we call it the Spanish Illuminated Manuscript. It's about 200 pages, bound in soft cover vellum pages, hand illuminated, and it's the legal court proceedings of written by and illustrated by the royal court scribes of King Philip IV of Spain. They date from 1635 to 1637, and it's beautiful. It truly is just a magnificent piece of art. It's funny. I was at the RBMS conference in Bloomington, Indiana, in 2023, and they had one of these that was a little earlier. It was so how these work is each copy is unique. They're bound together by I'm not sure if it's by year or just a couple months, probably broken up over time, I would guess. This copy is about 2 years worth, and the binding appears to be contemporary to the vellum pages. And it's just truly remarkable that it's survived. And we use it as a teaching example to talk about both illumination and the works outside of, well, Europe, especially. I mean, this is just a beautiful example of Spanish illumination, but I'm still learning more about it as we go. These are one of our faculty members and one of our students using the Spanish Illuminated Manuscript. And so Amanda Perone, the student here, was starting a project where we were to work on transcribing as well as translating this piece. And Laura de Broge, who was in the Spanish department and moved into administration, was helping us work on this project. And like I said, it's an ongoing thing. Our projects are very student driven. The biggest problem we run into is that students graduate, and I mean the other projects take priority. And this is just a beautiful example of collaboration that I'd like to talk more about and learn more about too. It's just a couple pages, and it's fascinating. It's a really beautiful example too. So in looking at it, you would think it was earlier than 1635, 1637, but there's no dates in it whatsoever. We know that it was King Philip IV of Spain, so we can date it to approximately that time period because of the documents that are mentioned in it. But I still need to translate the piece and transcribe it as well. The Spanish is fairly modern. You know, it's written about 20 years after the death of Shakespeare, so it's contemporary. And just a beautiful example of illumination. So what I want to point out is that this is searchable in our if you type in Google Spanish Illuminated Manuscript or IUP Spanish Illuminated Manuscript, it will show up and you can look at it in the you can also do a search on our library catalog. You can do a search our collections, Spanish Illuminated Manuscript, and you can download a copy of this whole document. And it's we digitized this and made it a static PDF that is searchable, but it hasn't been translated and it hasn't been transcribed. Definitely a work in progress still, but a beautiful example that has survived almost 400 years, 200 pages all bound together. And like I said, it's definitely been a labor of love where I'm still looking for a means to work more with in collaboration with our faculty and our students to transcribe it, translate it. It'd be nice to have a working document, and that's something that, you know, in the future we'll continue to do. I've used it for bibliographic instruction for over 17 years. We've also used it for a lot of outreach activities, including I participated in um, an outreach activity that the foreign language department created called Foldies, which is I'll talk more about in a few minutes. But that's part of the Pennsylvania State a Modern State Language Association, and it's been a really neat opportunity to collaborate with a lot of our different faculty. The PSMLA has really I've become familiar with a lot of different activities outside when I've had to really think outside the box to really reach a lot of different organizations with the collections that we have. And with special collections, we have, you know, record groups and manuscript groups, the Pennsylvania collection and our rare book collection. And this is just a really neat opportunity to share our resources with everyone, not just the university, our students, our faculty, but also visiting researchers. I've had researchers come see this piece in particular. I mentioned when I was at the RBMS conference in Bloomington that at the rare book, I'm sorry, the booksellers um, showcase, they had one of these that was bound of the legal court proceedings of King Philip IV of Spain that was from about a decade earlier. And it was interesting. It was a neat opportunity for me to compare and see the differences. This one is about, like I said, around 200 pages, and you can download it. It's freely available. There is definitely some damage to it. Vellum is susceptible to a lot of different problems. I mean, the being over almost 400 years old, it's very susceptible to damage from fingerprints, especially. But I mean, environmental, we store it in our humidity controlled vault, but vellum is susceptible to a lot of things. But um, the binding is leather, but it's not what I would call a hardcover, and it does show signs of deterioration. But for being as old as it is, as you can tell, it's a beautiful piece. It really is. this is one of the final pages that is in it. It's, countersigned by the Spanish government. But something that is very interesting to me is there's no dates whatsoever. There's not one date on it at all. And it's a bit of a mystery to me. It really is. But like I said, through time, energy, and money, the three variables, we could definitely work to build this into a real teaching tool that I hope to really expand in the future. What's interesting is that, and if I might go back and show you real quick, I want to point out in the lower left-hand corner of the on the left lower hand corner, you see that initial right there. That initial is different on each set of pages, and I think that these are the initials of the court scribes who made that page or made that set of pages. And it's really a neat opportunity to learn more about the handwriting and the history behind this document. It's something that when I talked to my predecessor, Phil Zorich, who was the head of special collections at IUP from 1980 when it was formally established till his retirement in 2007, that he didn't know the background of this piece. And I think it was donated by Will LaFranchi, who was our head librarian from 1953 to 1985. I asked Will about it, and he just smiled and he didn't want to admit that he had donated it. He had made a lot of anonymous donations over the years, but this piece has always been a very exciting for me to share with our students and faculty. So I wanted to talk a little bit about what we've done to it. So we created a custom clamshell box for it for conservation. It was cataloged and is in our fireproof vault. The and waterproof cabinets. High resolution overhead scans were made. We made TIFF files, RAW images, and JPEG images. And it's had over 2,500 downloads so far. It's fascinating. And people love seeing it. They can just readily download it themselves. So the binding is contemporary to the 1630s. The all hand pressed, blind stamped, gilded, stained edges. It's just a beautiful example of contemporary 1630s. And it's interesting to me about, well, we keep learning about it. It's just one of those pieces that keeps giving. In terms of conservation, I really haven't done very much to it other than put in a custom clamshell box. It does have its fair share of wormholes, like a lot of things. But as far as the binding and it's excellent. It really is. In talking about special collections, I love sharing some other resources that we've worked on in the past. Just to give you an example, this is the Tabula Rogerina, which is the map of the known world. This was created by King Roger II of Sicily, and by the Moroccan cartographer. It was commissioned for King Roger II of Sicily, and by Moroccan cartographer Mohammed al-Idrisi. And this is so the original Tabula Rogerina was a silver sphere that has been lost to time, and this is a remarkable map that we actually have we're doing our next Into the Archives presentation about at the end of the month. We're doing a presentation about maps, monsters, and math, and it'll be fun. It's the three M's, I call it, and we'll talk about this map as well as a lot of other modes of discovery that have involved mathematics, as well as some monsters along the way. These are just some of the presentations we've done for the Into the Archives. It's really been a very successful outreach event. It's brought in about 850 students so far. Been doing it since 2019. tried to be, this has brought in a lot of interest in our rare book collection. We have over 20,000 volumes in our rare book collection. Of course, our strengths are English and American literature, but we're always looking to expand that. And we have an endowment that lets us purchase and really build a collection that's really forward thinking for the curriculum. In talking about some of the different services and outreach activities that we do, I've done a lot of different things, including adopt a rare book for conservation, raising awareness, and a lot of grant activity. It's been a lot of fun working on exhibits too and displays. This is just one leaf we have from the Nuremberg Chronicle, and it's interesting to me about we all feel differently about leaves from manuscripts and books. But one thing I want to mention is that if it wasn't for individual leaves that have been collected and donated or purchased by different organizations, including us, we wouldn't have examples of these works. Still, at the same time, as a special collections librarian, I have to admit that it would be nice to have a full Gutenberg, but or a Nuremberg Chronicle for that matter. But in those cases, or a folio of Shakespeare. But at the same time, facsimiles and I mean, I don't know. It's a very good question. It's something that I'd like to pose to the membership, is their feelings about manuscript leaves and fragments as well. But that's probably a topic for another discussion. I've done a lot of work with the University Museum. The I'm actually if I curated an exhibit that's up right now for our sesquicentennial. It's IUP at 150. Let's meet in the Oak Grove. The Oak Grove is the center of campus. It's where our students meet. There's been weddings in the Oak Grove. It's been there since 1875. It's been a lot of fun. I've done 4 different museum exhibits, and they're all a little different. They talk about different collections we have. The first one I did was on Pennsylvania coal culture. We have an extensive collection of industrial heritage. I've also done collections on Ed Kolker, and Ed is a 98-year-old World War II vet that I've gotten to know very well. And in a time of everybody wants something electronic, ebooks and print on demand. Well, Ed Kolker makes limited edition folios, and he has for over 45 years through the Haybarn Press in Mount Kisco, New York. He is a remarkable person, and his works are an interesting combination of original art and poetry, especially Holocaust literature. My sabbatical project, I want to talk a little bit about. So in the spring, I'm going to be studying at the College of William and Mary, and I'm going to be studying there. So the Wark collection of 4 edge paintings at William and Mary is the largest collection in higher education in the United States. It has over 716 titles. I believe that's right, Jack. And I'm very excited. So the discoverability project is designed to, the idea is to take a known collection of 4 edge paintings and increase accessibility by taking photographs of the 4 edge painting and documentation, the provenance, as well as images of the books. Not only the 4 edge painting, but of the title page and binding, to be able to put together into imagery that can be incorporated into the catalog record. And this will be a topic for another discussion. But I'd encourage. I definitely, it's a passion of mine. To give you a little bit of background about this piece in particular, this is a 4 edge painting on this is called the Ponte Rato Bridge in Rome. And this was done by an unknown artist. This is a hidden 4 edge painting. The image in the right-hand corner, and I apologize if it's a little obscured, is an original etching from 1834. And the 4 edge painting that was painted on this example was painted in the 1930s by an unknown artist who worked for Marx and Company, and who was an English bookseller. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thanks, Harrison. That was wonderful. I can get us started with the questions. If you have any questions, you can either ask Lee to turn on your microphone and video if you'd like, or you can enter it in the Q&A section below or the chat section, and one of us will read your who asked the questions and also your question. My first question, Lee, is what was the title of the course that you took at UVA's Rare Book School this past summer?
That was the English bookbindings by I was from 1450 to 1850. I was with David Pearson, and we had a chance to go to the so one of his field trips was to go to the Folger Museum. I'm sorry, the Folger Library in DC to look at their folios as well as examples of their rare books. It was a really eye-opening experience. I definitely recommend a shameless plug for the UVA Rare Book School.
You also mentioned an interest in if you wish you could have a Gutenberg Bible or other items. Have you thought about collecting any manuscript facsimiles that are being created for
Yes,
teaching?
Jay, that's a great example. Yes, where possible, where an original or even a a just a leaf or even a piece is not available or isn't feasible. Yeah, facsimiles are definitely something that we've looked into, and I uh, so I mean, the Shakespeare's folios, the Gutenberg, we have facsimiles of all the major works, including Canterbury Tales, and it's been a lot of fun to look for a lot of these things. I mean, it's interesting. Facsimiles of Shakespeare's folio or even the Gutenberg, they're getting to be rare books themselves, especially the really good examples. The Nuremberg Chronicle, I was able to find a really nice facsimile and translation, very reasonable. So they're out there. Absolutely.
Jim, did you want to ask a question?
Yes. I I wasn't able to take my notes fast enough. Tell me more about the four edge painting collection and just remind me where that was.
Sure. So shameless plug for William and Mary, right, Jay? The so
Right.
my sabbatical project is going to be at the College of William and Mary. They have the Wark collection, WARK, and Jay could probably tell you more about than I can, but my idea, so there are about 716, 720 titles or four edge paintings. And they are mostly hidden four edge paintings, but it's interesting. It's become my thing. It has. So the idea will be to photograph all of those four edge paintings, review every single one of them, and it'll that's going to take a considerable amount of time, but it will be worth it in the end. And eventually, I think a publication will probably come from that as well, and that'll be something I look forward to working with Jay on.
Well, I
What's
look
been
forward
nice
to,
is that I'm sorry, Jim, go ahead.
just I look forward to seeing it. I don't really collect that area very much, but I found one recently that had a whaling scene at the
I
four edge painting. So I was really excited about that.
I think that was made by Martin Frost. So I think I saw that one for sale. If
Hmm.
I think Martin Frost is one of the few full-time four edge painters in the UK, and it's still very much very active. it's it's not quite a lost art form. It is still very much thriving today. It really is, and I work a lot with Martin Frost, Jeff Weber, and we've built a collection of about 70 ourselves. It's a great teaching collection. It's just the right size. If somebody wants, let's say, English four-edge paintings, traditional or English four-edge paintings, or older examples. And it's interesting because there's a lot of history behind it. I'd be happy to give another presentation about just about four-edge paintings. They some of them date back almost a millennia. They're they're ancient. But the majority of them come from uh so it became very popular in the 1780s to about 1820, and then a revival happened in the late 19th century as Americans started to travel to the United Kingdom. Everybody wanted to add a four-edge painting to a secondhand book. I even have one that is um, it's a four-edge painting of La Morte de Arthur from 1871 by Sir Thomas Mallory, and it has a four-edge painting of a Civil War a naval scene on it, which is completely unrelated to the King Arthur legend at all.
Yeah. Thank you.
Sure.
Another question. Anybody got any other questions? I've got another one for you, Harrison.
Sure do.
How did your you mentioned your collection development policy, how that sort of evolved to support teaching. Are you finding that I'm seeing that a lot more institutions are not don't have as tight of a collection development policy in order to encourage collecting or donations of materials that could support classes, students coming in to use it. Are you seeing the same thing? Are you doing the same thing at IUP?
Yes. So our collection development policy has changed over time. Originally, it's kind of funny. It's to give you an idea. When I started, the rare book collection was divided into three pieces. Library of Congress, about two-thirds, let's say two-thirds was Library of Congress. About a quarter was still Dewey, and then a little tiny bit was not cataloged at all. And I asked my predecessor why. I mean, the rarest of the rare weren't cataloged. Why is our copy of The Origin of Species not cataloged? Or why is our first collected works of Chaucer not cataloged? And he laughed and said, or the Spanish Illuminated Manuscript. And he said that it was for protection. And in my mind, as a librarian, it's just wrong to not catalog it and have it available at least for research, because as a new person coming in, right, you don't know anything about it. If it's not in the catalog, there's no record of it. I mean, I had to be shown these things to know they existed. It's been a labor of love to really work on these projects, but the collection development policy is a good example. It had to evolve. I mean, originally the focus was to support the curriculum, look at and collect American and English literature, but there's so much more. And the Spanish Illuminated Manuscript is a great example. It's led to all kinds of collaboration with our languages department. And it's been fascinating to me how diverse the collection can be. And you have to revisit these policies to be able to try to look at all different aspects. I mean, it's not just about American and English literature anymore. The four-edge paintings are a great example. Think about this in terms of art history. Think about it in terms of original art, literature, and the rare book. That's what I love about these. This example, especially because you have this copper plate etching that you can compare to the full watercolor. And I mean, I've really come to appreciate four-edge paintings in a lot of ways. Of course, they started out as uh, a bit of a novelty trick at parlor, parlor tricks in the 17th and 18th century, but it's been very interesting to talk to our students about these. And the discoverability project, of course, the idea is to, because they're hidden, right? So, I mean, the idea is to make them discoverable to everybody. So that's what to me, the collection development policy really needs to be revisited by anybody to really open up your collection and to make it more accessible and discoverable.
Anybody have any other questions? In addition to the Spanish manuscript you showed, Harrison, what's your other favorite manuscript at your special collections?
So, oh, that's tough. We have a couple Persian illuminated manuscripts. They're not bound together like this. They're that well, no, I take it back. We have one that is that I'd like to learn more about. The it's interesting is that the a lot of the handwritten documents associated with, 4-edge paintings as well. So those are often the only information you have about a single example of 4-edge paintings are the what's written in the document itself, in the book itself. And it might be just a description of the of what this is. I mean, for this example of this one says Ponti Rati Brit let's see, it says Ponti Rati Rome. So I mean, we know what this is. And because of the handwriting, Jeff Weber was able to tell me who, well, he knew I knew who the artist worked for. The artist is known as the Dover painter because they painted a lot of 4-edge paintings of the White Cliffs of Dover, but it's just a moniker that he associated with the artist. But he later identified the artist as being an unknown painter who worked for Marx and Company in London. It was a bookseller in London, and they were this one. Jeff Weber was able to date this painting to about the 1920s to the 30s, but the original etching you have up in the upper right is from the 1830s, and the book is from the 1850s. So they could be completely asynchronous, where the painting and the date of publication or creation of the book or the art can be completely unassociated. So it's fascinating. So I mean, that's what's neat about the manuscripts associated with these pieces. And our collection's been a lot of fun to work with. I particularly like the marginalia in a lot of our older books. And if I give a presentation for the society again about my the 4-edge painting discoverability project, I'll talk about the early versions of 4-edge paintings that were first created in the 1580s and 1570s and 80s by Caesar Vasilio in Venice. And he was a cousin of Titian. He was a draftsman actually, but he became an artist and later wrote a book about clothing in the 1590s. Yeah. So it's a lot of fun. If you can't tell, I really enjoy what I do. But
Yeah.
a shameless plug for IU. I mean, I can thank my interest in this to the university archives there. Phil Banton, Bradley Cook, and Dina Kellums were the first people who got me interested in this.
I have a question for you from Pat Vaccaro. She's our editor of the Manuscript Society News. When researchers have come to work with the Spanish Illuminated Manuscript, what have been their areas or focus of study?
So that depends on so it's been language, it has been handwriting, it has also been transcription work as well. It really varies. The research that I've provided for that has included scans of individual pages. Eventually, I figured that we should just digitize the whole thing because it was easier to, I mean, you have to worry less about damage to the original book. With one of our librarians loved to take it to bibliographic instruction sessions and pass it around to the students. And I wish I had been there to just take it around to them, because as a special collections librarian, Jay, you can appreciate it. It gave me the hives to think about it being passed around and without white gloves, especially because it's vellum pages and original. I mean, it's beautiful. I mean, the frontispiece is just what it's all about. But in terms of research, it really came down to three things: language, transcription, and uh, the art. So it really came down to a lot. There were a lot of different reasons people came to see it. I even had a researcher come from Shanghai in 2012 to look at this piece. In particular, wanted to see it in person.
What are your plans to have it translated or transcribed?
I definitely want to do both. That's still very much a work in progress. The the challenge is I mean, I do a lot of collaboration with our foreign language faculty. I'm actually going to a PSMLA conference. Sorry, that's the Pennsylvania State Modern Language Association. That's meeting in a week, and we'll be I'm going to talk about it there too. But I'm interested in working more with them to work on translating it. The transcription would be one thing, but it'd be good to have both.
Great. Well, thank you, Harrison.
Sure.
Fascinating presentation. Any last questions for Harrison? Anything else you'd like to share, Harrison, with us?
All right. Just look forward to giving another presentation about 4-edge paintings. I love what I do. If you can't tell.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, I know. It's sometimes it's like you're not even working.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
And, Kaylin Davis said no questions, just gratitude. So thank you very much, Harrison, for your talk.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you, Jim, for the introduction, and Lee, thanks for the technical support. And thank you for attending, and stay tuned for our more information to come on our November Manuscript Monday.
Thank you, everyone.
Have a good evening, everybody.